Imagine this, you vanish, not from existence, but from their world. No texts, no calls, no trace of you in their orbit. At first, they barely notice. Life hums along uninterrupted. But then, something shifts. A whisper of your absence curls around their thoughts like smoke. They catch themselves staring at their phone, waiting for a notification that never comes. They replay your last conversation, searching for clues they missed. And then, the realization hits, they can't forget you. Why? Why does your absence carve a deeper mark than your presence ever could? Why do some people linger in the mind like ghosts, while others fade without a ripple? The answer defies logic. The more you try to make someone miss you, the more you push them away. But the moment you stop, the moment you surrender, is the moment they begin to ache for you. This is the paradox of longing. Ancient philosophers knew it. Jung called it the shadow, the parts of ourselves we repress, only to have them haunt us with greater force. Nietzsche warned of the abyss, the way absence mirrors our deepest desires back at us. And Schopenhauer, ever the pessimist, saw human want as a pendulum, swinging between possession and loss, forever unsatisfied. So here's the unsettling question. What if the key to being unforgettable isn't in holding on, but in letting go? What if the laws of the universe demand that you release your grip before you can be truly desired? The tension is unbearable, isn't it? You want answers. You want to know how to wield this invisible power, how to make your absence a magnet, not a void. But the truth is stranger than you think, and it begins not with them, but with you. Stay with me. The first secret is about to unravel. You've been conditioned to believe that love, attention, and desire are earned through pursuit. That if you just try harder, text more, show up more, prove your worth, they'll finally see you. But here's the brutal truth. The harder you chase, the more you teach them not to. This isn't just about relationships. It's about the fundamental wiring of human psychology. Carl Jung called it the law of reversed effort. The more you force something, the more it resists you. Like trying to fall asleep by demanding it, the effort itself becomes the obstacle. Jean-Paul Sartre saw it as the hell of other people. The moment you seek validation, you surrender your power, trapping yourself in their gaze. And then there's Schopenhauer's pendulum, the idea that desire is a torment, swinging between boredom when we have what we want and agony when we don't. When you cling, you become predictable, and predictability is the death of fascination. But the real villain? Attachment anxiety. Neuroscience reveals that uncertainty triggers the same primal circuits as hunger and thirst. When someone can't predict your attention, their brain obsesses, replaying your memory like an unfinished melody. But society has trained you to fear silence, to equate distance with rejection, to mistake obsession for love. So ask yourself, why does absence ignite longing, while presence often dulls it? Why do we crave most what we can't fully grasp? The answer lies in the shadows of the human psyche, where logic bends and the rules you've been taught no longer apply. And now, the most dangerous question of all. What if everything you've been doing to make them stay has been pushing them away? The consequences are already shaping your life, and the next revelation will show you just how deep the trap goes. The trap is this: you have been complicit in your own erasure. Every time you double text to fill the silence, you train them to expect your voice without hearing it. Every time you rush to soothe their indifference with affection, you absolve them of the ache of missing you. You have, without realizing it, become predictable, and predictability is the enemy of desire. Cognitive scientists call it habituation, the brain's tendency to filter out the constant, the guaranteed, the mundane. Like a song played too often, even the most intoxicating presence becomes background noise if it never fades. But there's a darker layer. Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, observed a chilling truth. What man actually needs is not a tensionless state, but rather the striving and struggling for some goal worthy of him. When you remove the struggle, when you make yourself too available, you strip them of the chance to choose you. And without choice, there is no real desire. Modern dating culture worsens this. Social media, instant messaging, and the myth of perpetual connection have turned attention into a cheap commodity. The less someone has to wonder about you, the less they value you. The less they value you, the easier it is to forget you. But here's the twist. This isn't about them. It's about the story you've internalized, that love is earned through sacrifice, that devotion means self-erasure. You've been conditioned to fear silence, because silence forces confrontation with their indifference, with your worth, with the terrifying possibility that you might have to walk away. So ask yourself, what have you lost by refusing to let them miss you? What version of yourself have you buried under the weight of their lukewarm attention? The cost is already being paid in half-hearted connections, in unspoken resentments, in the quiet erosion of your own magnetism. But there is a way out, a rebellion. And it starts with a single radical act, one that will feel like surrender, but is, in truth, the ultimate power move. The rebellion begins with a single terrifying act. Stop feeding the illusion of control. You've been taught that love is something you can negotiate, that if you just say the right words, or wait the perfect amount of time between texts, you can engineer desire. But real longing doesn't obey scripts. It thrives in the unknown, in the spaces you refuse to fill. So here's the counterintuitive truth. To make them miss you, you must first miss yourself. Friedrich Nietzsche wrote, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." This is your chaos. Withdraw, not as a tactic, but as a reckoning. Reclaim the parts of yourself you've handed over for approval. Let silence do what your words could not. History's most magnetic figures understood this. Cleopatra didn't beg for Antony's attention. She vanished into the desert, forcing him to cross empires for her. Casanova didn't cling. He left his lovers haunted by his absence, always wondering when or if he'd return. The power wasn't in pursuit. It was in the uncertainty of their presence. But this isn't about games. It's about the law of reversed effort. The less you need them to remember you, the more unforgettable you become. Here's how to start. 1. Become a ghost in their machine. Disappear from their predictable patterns. Let them notice the silence where your attention used to be. 2. Replace pursuit with potency. Channel that energy into something that makes you feel alive, art, ambition, a skill that reminds you of your own depth. 3. Let them wonder. When you stop explaining yourself, you force them to interpret you. And nothing lingers in the mind like an unsolved mystery. This isn't manipulation. It's recalibration. You're not hiding. You're shifting the gravitational pull back to your own center. And when you do, something inevitable happens. They begin to rewrite your absence into a story they can't stop telling themselves. But the final revelation, the one that changes everything, is still ahead. It's not about them at all. It never was. Here's the secret at the heart of all secrets. They were never the ones who needed to remember you. You were the one who needed to remember yourself. This entire time, you've been asking the wrong question. Not, how do I make them miss me? But why did I ever make myself so easy to forget? The philosopher Alan Watts once said, "Trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth." And yet, you've spent years trying to define yourself through someone else's gaze, measuring your worth by their attention, your identity by their longing. But here's the cosmic joke. The moment you stop begging to be seen, you become impossible to ignore. This is the ultimate inversion of power. Think of the moon. It does not beg the tide to rise. It simply is, and the ocean responds. Think of fire. It does not convince you to feel its heat. You step closer on your own. This is the law of attraction in its purest form. Presence, not pursuit. Being, not bargaining. So the final question isn't about them. It's about you. What if the person you've been trying to make miss you is the person you were before you learned to shrink for love? That version of you, the one who didn't monitor replies, who didn't shape-shift for affection, who was too alive to be obsessed with being remembered, that is the ghost haunting their subconscious. That is the echo they can't silence. You want them to miss you? Then return to yourself so fiercely that your absence teaches them what your presence never could. The rest is gravity.